So next, let's actually do the Ajax call. So we're going to do $.ajax, and the first parameter that function takes in is URL. All right, so let's get the instance of this form. Let's do self equals to this. Okay, so let's pass in self.options.url, and that is this URL that we've passed in as an option here. Okay, so that's gonna have to be server.php, and next it takes in an object with some configurations. So let's do method is post. Could want to post to the server, and the data is going to have to be an object. So let's say form data. This is just for preference, in case we want to pass in some things to the server during validation, which is other things that are not just the form data. That's why we're passing an object. Okay, so just something that I thought was a good convention. Okay, so form data, so let's pass in the value for that as form data object, and then let's pass in our success callback. So when we are successful, we just call this anonymous function, and that will be given the result from the server. Okay, so let's do result. Okay, but we're gonna have to do a bit more work in here. We want to create a function on this main function here that we're gonna call in here, because we want to keep things neat. Okay, so let's do one last property, which is data type. Okay, so let's do JSON, because we want to receive JSON from the server. So we want this the jQuery plugin to automatically pass that for us in here. Okay, so next let's do self dot handle Ajax, and we want to pass in result. Okay, so let's create a function called handle Ajax. So let's do jQuery validate dot prototype dot handle Ajax equals to function. Okay, so the reason why we didn't pass in self.handleAjax here like this, let me show you in a moment. Self.ajax, of course, will get results. The reason why we didn't pass it in here like this, even though that will work, let's remove this function here, that will work, but the context of this here will not be this function. It will be the Ajax instance, basically. Okay, so that's why we didn't pass it here, right? So let's step back a little bit for that, and let's carry on writing the handle Ajax here. So right, so now we're sending the form to the server. Now let's handle it right here when it comes back from the server, and then later we're gonna create the logic on the server to do the validation. Okay, so first let's cache the function instance. So let's say var self equals to this. Okay, so next let's do if results, the first element in the result equal to true. That means validation is passed. Let's do self.clear validation messages. Okay, so any messages that were set on the form in here that like showing any error messages, we want to clear all those. And then of course we want to call this callback here, because we are saying when validation passes, then call this callback for us. So let's say self.options dot what's the name again? It's called valid callback. So let's do valid callback. Okay, else if validation fails, we want to say self dot errors equals to result, and then the second element in the array. Okay, because that's where the errors are going to be in. The first one is saying whether validation is passed or not, because that's what the server will return to us. So the second element in this result array here will be actually the error messages, if any exist. Okay, and then when we have stored that in this function instance, let's do self dot show validation messages. Okay, so now let's write this function here. Right, so let's do jQuery dot prototype dot show validation messages equals to function.